Good morning, everyone. It is a pleasure and an honor to be present in this context and to be able to make this intervention. I am happy to share with you Right After Writing, the book Biology of Kindness with Professor De Vivo, a viral and international movement was born. But it all started from something very small, namely a bookstore that during the pandemic offered people who bought a copy of the book Biology of Kindness the option to buy an extra copy and leave this suspended book, this kind book, for anyone in need, or to donate it to prisons, volunteer associations, and many other social contexts. From that small gesture, many other bookstores joined in, creating a network of kind bookstores. Then a network of kind restaurants emerged because the first restaurant offered a kind meal, providing one free meal a day for those in need. The first hotel offered kind nights, and then a miracle happened. The first municipality, the municipality of Bari in Italy, joined a manifesto of kindness, committing to develop social projects. From there, Florence, the Republic of San Marino, and over 60 municipalities in Italy joined in. Currently there are 72 active social projects in the area that involve prisons, schools, and hospitals. It then spread across the planet, arriving in Mexico, Chile, America, and even in the Maldives, where Nick Island has proclaimed itself as a kind island by activating social projects for the local population. It is very important to understand that values such as kindness, forgiveness, empathy, and gratitude can today be translated from a biological perspective into numbers, and above all, science is now able to demonstrate that these values are fundamental natural medicines for our health, our well-being, and the quality of our lives. We have, with the biology of kindness together with Professor De Vivo, effectively redefined and clarified the incorrect interpretation of Darwin's thought. Darwin stated that the individual best suited for survival on this planet was the one that adapted best to change. And we, a competitive, patriarchal society that often justifies violence as a principle of self-assertion, physical, psychological, and economic violence, have reinterpreted this thought as survival of the fittest, meaning those who impose themselves better, especially physically, on others and other beings. The biology of kindness effectively redefines this paradigm because it is not the strongest in competitive terms, but the individual who understands at increasingly deeper levels the principles of interconnectedness, interdependence, and cooperation that govern life on this planet. Therefore, this is the kindest individual, the most empathetic individual, the one most inclined towards values such as forgiveness and gratitude, which is certainly a medium to long-term strategy suitable for surviving, living, and thriving on this planet. Especially because kindness, like other values, is a true natural medicine. Furthermore, it should be considered that the word kindness, its etymological root, derives from the Roman gens, and thus from a noble, extended family of belonging that is not only biological, whose members had specific duties of assistance, love, and care for one another. Therefore, kindness, or rather belonging to the Roman gens, depends on the quality of our ability to care for, love, and nurture other beings. And this is an etymological root that highlights the importance of the provocation of kindness. Kindness is an essential social provocation at this moment as a value because it stands in opposition to the common dynamics that create identity, a sense of belonging, and consensus, starting from a violent language, from the creation of an enemy, a culprit against whom to fight. Kindness, on the other hand, does exactly the opposite. It teaches us to create a sense of identity, belonging, and consensus based on the quality of our ability to care for others. This is precisely why it is a great provocation and a necessary medicine for the quality of our lives. Life and the entire international situation, especially a medicine that brings a lot of peace. In our studies with Professor De Vivo, we explored 3 dimensions of kindness. The intrapersonal dimension, that is, being kind to oneself, involves understanding and being harmoniously balanced with one's true needs, necessities, and natural rhythms. Therefore, being kind to oneself leads to being kind to others. The interpersonal dimension, which is relational, explores what gentle communication is and how to manage conflict in a gentle manner. Finally, the collective dimension examines how to develop a project based on these values and the importance of integrating these values throughout the process of social and institutional transformation in schools and universities, in the governing bodies, in the way of doing politics. This is a fundamental passage. And finally, we have developed actual training programs that can be tested psychometrically. It was developed in collaboration with psychometrics, the first psychometric test on kindness that not only assesses the impact in terms of cognitive abilities, health, well-being, conflict management, and stress, but also on business productivity. In fact, incorporating kindness, trust, empathy, and forgiveness, these values, into the workplace leads to improvements not only in terms of well-being and relationships, but also in terms of productivity. Therefore, kindness is a natural remedy that begins first and foremost from the intimacy of our feelings. It should not be confused with superficial behavior. Kindness is a deep feeling that reminds us that other beings are a part of ourselves and that we all are part of life, of nature. We are all children of the same life. And it reminds us especially that on this earth, the existence of all creatures is intimately interconnected and interdependent. I want to leave you with one last brief suggestion and thought, reminding you that life here is regulated by 4 main factors, 4 pillars. First, the pollinators. Bees, for example. Almost 75% of edible crops, and therefore our food, comes from pollinators. The second regulating agent is trees, from which nearly 30% of the oxygen we breathe derives. And finally, the cetaceans fertilize the phytoplankton in the oceans, from which nearly 70% of the oxygen we breathe derives. So you see how life is interconnected, it is interdependent. The last factor of these 4 is the human mind, and the human mind is currently not eco-sustainable. Human thought has a devastating impact on ecosystems, and perhaps the most important and powerful polluter we have on the planet. If we consider plastic, which can be seen as a polluting agent, it is not so much the plastic itself, but the human thought that produces and manages it unconsciously that makes it polluting. Therefore, kindness and all the other values I have presented are agents of remediation, transformation, and healing of human thought and awareness. I wish you a good journey into an inner dimension where it becomes increasingly clear that the intimacy of our feelings affects what we see in the external world. If in the external world we see a planet dominated by wars, violence, and competition, it means that the great work we must do is, first and foremost, within ourselves, in listening and addressing the conflicts that arise within us. Wishing you kindness and a good journey